Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Pile of Waves podcast. This podcast is about artistry, it's about technology, it's about community, it's about commerce. It's about the intersections of these worlds, the creativity that is required to survive and thrive within them. And we ask artists, musicians, entrepreneurs, people who run advocacy groups, we ask all of them to come on our show and tell their stories because it further embeds us within the community with their success, and our success will now be further embedded within them. This we do believe. This episode is brought to you by the Indiegogo campaign of Heavy Breathing. Go to Indiegogo, look up Heavy Breathing, send us some money, and you will get a perk in return, and you will also help them unleash their latest album onto the world. We would be greatly appreciative if you would do this. It would show the power of the podcast. My name is Alex Vidalis, and on today's show, you're going to hear from the Catscan Boys. The Catscan Boys are a two-piece band when they are performing live. They also use live instrumentation from time to time. You'll hear about it in today's interview. They write songs about robots. They write songs about animals. They used a Kickstarter to get their record made, which is fantastic. They offer special perks, including writing songs, personal songs for people, which is very difficult to do. Writing songs is hard enough, but imagine now you have 10 songs that you have to write about other people. That's even harder, and we applaud them for taking that task on, and we know they're going to totally crush it because these boys do everything with their hearts. They are definitely all in, and that is what sets them apart in an incredible way. That we are so honored that they would come on this show and spend their extremely valuable time with us. I don't want to take up a ton of time here at the beginning, but I wanted to also thank two particular companies, Inner Ear Studios, for allowing us to start to record our podcast at their studios going forward, which is a wonderful honor, and to be recording your show in the same place that Fugazi has recorded their albums, or Bad Brains has recorded their albums. That is an honor, and we do not, you don't take that lightly. And so thank you very much, Don, for allowing us to record our show at your studios. Weirdly enough, this one wasn't recorded there, but you're going to hear some future shows that were. We would also like to thank our marketing company, the Misha Communications. They are providing social media and marketing services for companies all over the world, including the Pile of Waves podcast. First up, you're going to hear a song from Catscan. It's called Homework Sucks, which I think we can all agree on. Homework does suck. This was the song that made me fall in love with the band because it's not a parody of Blink-182. It takes sort of like the songwriting of Blink-182 and kind of kicks ass with it. And it's also about what it's like to write songs for adolescents and teenagers as mid-30-year-old gentlemen. And I don't think that's probably easy. But this song goes down nice and easy. Boy, that was horrible. I don't know why I said it that way, but this is, all cards on the table. This is like my 7th take of the opening, and I don't mind telling you that because I like being honest about how I put my foot in my mouth on this show sometimes because it's something that we all do. So without any further ado, listen to Catscan and their song off their new album, Challenger Deep. It's called Homework Sucks, and then we're going to go straight into the interview from there. Thanks for joining us today.
Same songs, the same floor. Our music stuck in mean, that was what that fish originally did was it took you to a special website, which was, we called it Dim Sum, which we purposely made it very mysterious, but you kind of click on the things and click on the buttons and it plays sort of an 8-bit version of the music.
It's like a sampler of the album that
Right.
plays a 8-bit melody or an 8-bit, like a very short 10-second melody or...
So we thought,
Medley.
someone could come across the sticker and then check it out and then hear these weird songs and then be like, what the hell was that? And then it would have links sort of to our other
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
So we thought that would be sort of a weird, like a way to sort of discover us and coming at the music with not just like, hey, can you like my Facebook page? Which is pretty much the worst thing.
I'm caught in that hell right now.
Yeah. So we're still trying to figure out other things. I mean, we want to do a music video probably this year too.
Sure.
But it's just like we have to come up with like the best idea, or else it's just I don't want to have just like, lip syncing to our own music.
Convertible car.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just it wouldn't even serve our music well.
Yeah,
Right.
And there's there's so many ideas that have been taken too. Like there's like really interesting ideas, but then we'll look it up and we'll go, oh, okay, go did that.
But I think we'll definitely do one. We just have to come up with the right idea.
Don't get caught up in that survival of the coolest bullshit.
Yeah. Right.
Because everything has been done.
We're not the coolest guys in the world, so.
Well, you know what? You say that, right? But the truth is, like, there's an understated artistic integrity, like within your creation that you've made, and that's not to be trifled with. Because you are pure and honest about your craft, that emotes, and that's why. I mean, as much as it is the acapella, right, and as much as it is you guys doing a little bit differently, but what people are actually attaching themselves to is the honesty in your work. And they can tell the difference between your work and someone else's, because there are people who do similar things to what you're talking about. They just don't sing songs maybe about the same things or whatever.
Yeah.
But man, I've been to a lot of fucking IOTA shows, man. There are a lot of people doing stuff with a like a little MP3 player or various Korg version, right?
Right.
With two guys with unique stuff and unique sounds, but they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And they just don't. And I mean, and they're there. They're giving me a performance, and it sounds pretty, but they don't really care.
It's not a spectacle.
If you don't care, then why do it?
Because you want to get your rocks off.
I guess. I mean,
for some people, there's a millions of reasons.
Yeah,
it's the only thing
that's fair. That's fair.
Right.
Yeah, it's the only thing you can figure out how to do. You're good at it,
or you just think that you're performing, or you think you're, putting on a goes show. And
Yeah.
You just.
Well, it could be a
don't do
good
it
show.
right.
I just don't. If you're not sincere about it, then
Yeah.
it doesn't. It goes against, I guess, what we're doing.
Well, and if you're the kind of person who goes to a show and watches your phone the entire time, it's not easy to pick up on someone not being sincere.
Right.
Yeah.
It's actually very hard
Uh-huh.
because
you're
you're
not
digitally
even-
fucking stoned.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. And you're 2 beers in, and you're talking to the girl or guy next to you, and Catscan's on, and then you hear
We'll tell
acapella
people
music.
to shut up too if we can hear them chatting someone up during our song.
That's good.
Got no problem with that.
I think I would be very surprised that if you guys weren't in 5 years, probably making more work than you could actually handle, right? Because it seems like you're already at that point now.
We're almost
That's
there.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
We're
so
overworked.
at some point, you guys will figure out someone who's going to be like, you know what, I will help you with this because I'm sold.
Mhm.
Nice.
Man, once you find that person, that's when a lot of your art like really starts to take motion because you have a believer.
Yeah.
You already had $3,000 worth of believers. That's
Well, 2,000, but yeah.
2,000. Sorry, but that's nothing to sneeze at. Those
No.
are true
No,
believers.
definitely, yeah.
True believers. We all need true believers in our lives. When you look at the people that support you the most, it doesn't mean that if someone's a true believer, it's not a judgment. But, sometimes it's easy to tell the people who really believe in you, the people who are supporting you because they love you, and they all have their valuable, or they all are some value. And you really shouldn't look at people that way anyways, but I guess the love they give you has some sort of value. I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I'm sort of babbling at this point. A lot of things going on in the Pilot Waves world. We're trying, as I mentioned, in the last episode, if you listen to them in order, that, we're looking for some kind of feedback from the public. Is the show, are you enjoying the show? Do you find that it delivers any kind of value for you? And that's something that we would like to know. My mentor and I, we had a conversation, and so this, just to be completely honest, the show gets about 120 listens a day. and that's extremely impressive. And I wonder out there how many of you are true believers. How many of you believe that having people come on our show is of value to the community, that it's of value to the artists, that it's of value to the Pilot Waves? And I would love to hear more from you. Come to our Facebook page, Pilot Waves Facebook page. You can come to my personal, Alex Vidalis' Facebook page. You can tweet us at Pilot Waves. You can email us at culture@pilotwaves.com. It'd be wonderful to hear from you.
No, we did most of our recording in Richmond.
What was that place called? Was that right? No, that's what we kept saying. It was Etchington or something, but it was River City.
River City Studios in Richmond was where we recorded all the sort of live tracks, like the live drums and the horns.
And I guess that was basically it.
And then the rest we kind of recorded at our buddy's studio also in Richmond.
Not really a studio, an attic, but it's nice.
Yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit about the new album recorded in Richmond. Did you guys use local musicians? You said you used live instrumentation and stuff like that, or did you just make the live instrumentation there?
We used a lot of local musicians. Session musicians. Well, not session musicians, but they were local to Richmond. So our buddy Drew Jingra, who sort of produced / sort of directed, sort of engineered the album.
Yeah.
Got some of his buddies from the Richmond area.
A guy named JB, who's like this incredible drummer. He just we had drum parts written, but basically we were like, if you can do better, please do. And he blew it out of the water.
Crushed it.
Yeah, I think like 8 of the 8 or 9 tracks he's on. So all the live drumming is all him. And then we got
Sam Koff from No BS Brass. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're like this.
No, but someone who's listening to this
I'm sure someone
has.
Kevin Kingsley from this kid we've known since like elementary school.
He's like he was like he was like a prodigy at saxophone growing up, but actually he plays guitar on the record, and he actually co-wrote one of the songs with me. So
right on.
That's cool.
So you guys do it's usually 2 people live when you perform, right?
Yeah.
And it's just the 2 of you guys with
the
help of
the backing tracks. Yeah.
With the backing tracks. So what made you decide to go with a little bit of a fuller sound on this particular track? Was it the song choice? Was it always going to be that
most
way?
of our albums are like this. Like there's like a full band sound to almost all of them, unless we're specifically trying to make it sound like the live show. But like there's kind of a weird disconnect between the live sound and the recording sound.
Yeah, we sort of approach the 2 projects pretty differently. Like if it's going to be a recording that's going to be on a CD or something that someone's going to hear over and over, we really wanted to make it like the best possible version. But for the live show, we kind of try to make it the most exciting possible version without the. We might do the live band eventually, but we're kind of excited by the backing track just because it's so freeing, and also it's kind of a challenge to try to make it exciting.
Is it a discovery process? Are you still feeling out who you are as performers, in the twosome?
I think so.
Yeah, I think more in the live show than in the recording process. We've been recording since middle school, but the live show definitely feels like we're figuring ourselves out.
Well, that's part of what's so cool is that we can, with the backing track, we can go home and we can change the arrangement so much, and we can come up with something totally wild and try it, and then if it bombs, we just remove it from the iPod, and it's out of the set. But if it does well, then we can kind of refine it and still tweak the track. So it's cool to me. I think it's really cool.
I definitely, when you said the thing about the other albums having more of a fuller sound, but then the 2 of you still kind of being the constant tie, like in the live performance, that is something. There's something to that dichotomy, right? Because like you guys have, it's not meek, right? But you're understated when you're in the live performance, and then you're so much bigger during the recording session. Do you like armchair psychologist style? Do you have a reasoning behind that, or is it like what you said earlier, which is if you're going to listen to this record again and again, then it's got to be more interesting?
I think it's more like if we could play every single instrument that we know how to play at a show, we'd do it. If
2 one-man bands.
Yeah, if we had like 20 arms or something, and three faces, and it would sound like the album version.
But I also think that the duo thing is a little bit. It challenges people in a way. I think I liked the fact that we make people say, is this good? Is this music? Are they just lip syncing, or is it better than that? I really like that it immediately makes people question like what is this that they're doing, and do I like it or do I hate it? And I like being in the position of having to convince someone that what we're doing is actually worthwhile and is actually music and art and not just people dancing to music
just jiggling in front of an iPod.
That was the original band name, wasn't it? Two dudes jiggling in front of an iPod.
Oh, that's better than the original band name. The original band name in 6th grade was Earwax. So that was a terrible band name.
It's right there with Snot.
Well,
it's tragic.
Yeah, the first album was going to be Q-Tip. So.
Well, it was EARWACKS.
Yeah.
Earwax.
Earwax.
That is amazing.
I
like it.
I think it's an okay name.
I don't know. I wouldn't go back to it. But
it's a good name for like a punk pop band.
Yeah.
Earwax, right?
Yeah. You can take that.
Right in here.
Just keep that.
So you guys have been making music together since middle school?
Since 2000, which
since
is
2000?
Actually, middle school, yeah.
Do you remember the very first song you wrote?
Yep.
Go ahead.
It was called That's My Name, and we were basically... We grew up
That actually wasn't the first song we wrote. That was the first song we recorded.
Yeah.
But I guess the other ones don't count as CatScan, right?
Yeah. Well, let's start with that one. Let's
Okay.
just start with that
Go
one.
ahead.
Yeah,
Let's
just
say that's the
point
beginning. But I was going over to Paul's house, and we had to stop at this community center in our hometown of Vienna. And there was like a bike path that goes right by, so we kind of stood outside and sort of jammed. I think Paul had like a little drum, and then I had this
I
keyboard.
still have the drum somewhere.
I had this keyboard, and we just sort of played around with the keyboard, and we were like, people will pass by and they'll like listen to our band. But we just kind of jammed that. We just jammed out some song, and that was the first one.
Yeah, and then we went to my grandmother's house and recorded the whole album on like this tape player. It was like a boombox that had a record function.
Right.
So
awesome. I used to record, not that this is about me, but we'll just diverge for a second. I used to record radio play. This is really creepy. These people, are they like right outside our door?
I think so. Yeah, I think this is probably
these
my
your roommates?
girlfriend and her daughter. Yeah.
that's alright. They can come in.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought that was like...
Come in.
Hello.
I thought it was like...
It's
people,
okay.
like over there, I was like, oh, God, what's happening?
You guys are on the podcast. Say hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
Naima.
Hi, I'm Alex. It's good to meet you. Bump it. Thank you.
If you didn't blow it, you gotta bump it and then blow
Oh, we
it.
did a...
Naima.
Alright.
Yeah, you better get out of here.
What were we talking about?
I had to leave in the cameo from Naima. It was adorable, and you hear her voice later on in the show too in the background, and it's just it's enchanting. Special thanks to the CatScan boys for being on the show. If you would like to hear CatScan's album Challenger Deep, other than the song that I played at the beginning of the show, you're welcome. If you want to hear more, go to their SoundCloud page. Look up CatScan, CATSCAN with an exclamation point. This episode, as a lot of the episodes going forward are going to be, at least for the next 40 days, will be brought to you by the Indiegogo campaign of Heavy Breathing. Go to Indiegogo, type in your computer input device, type in there Heavy Breathing, look at their Indiegogo campaign, watch their badass motherfucking video, and give them some money to help fund their vinyl release. You can get awesome perks like prints, original prints from the band. You can get a show in your hometown. I don't know what else you would want from them. Oh, of course you can get the vinyl and the digital releases as well. Of their last album too, Body Problems. Let's get back to this interview with the CatScan boys. Thank you, gentlemen, for being on the show, and thank you for your valuable time. And let's hear some more from you. I wanted to ask you guys about your singing. Because you guys, like, when I see you sing live, you're really giving it, like, because I saw you guys at the Galaxy Head, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you are singing with, like, your hearts. Do you find that is something that people connect with? Does anyone say anything to you about that?
No one really says much, but I do notice that a lot of the other bands we play with are sort of like of this shoegaze kind of mentality of like I don't care, I'll sing, but like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
or like that's the attitude they want to kind of have, and
I feel like a lot of bands, the focus isn't really on the lyrics so much during the live performance. Like
Right.
you hear the singing, but you don't really know what they're saying, and I guess that's something cool about us, but also a problem is that our songs are very based on the lyrics, and the live performance, you kind of want to know what we're singing about.
Right.
So if the sound is bad and you can't hear what we're singing about, it really affects the show.
Right.
But if you can, it's, makes it really interesting.
Well, what I like about that, for you guys, is that it connects to what you were saying. It requires attention.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you realize that there's a joke, right,
Mm-hmm.
then you're like, oh, okay, well, now I have to look and listen and pay attention to what's happening, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not just... There's the one song, which is you do the pun during the middle. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But
Is it new or old?
no, it's... we'll think about it in a second.
it could be the
The answer, my friend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
The
at
answer,
the
my
end.
friend. Yeah, and so like if you're not paying attention, right, that joke is missed. And
Right.
The joke is phenomenal, right? Why would you
This
not?
guy wrote that.
Yeah, it's-
I think someone else said it to me, but
Oh, really?
it's still funny. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So what do you have? So you have the album coming out.
Uh-huh.
The album release show is this Friday,
Uh-huh.
Saturday,
Saturday.
14th.
The 14th, Valentine's
Uh-huh.
Day.
This won't air before
At the-
Valentine's Day.
at
the-
impossible.
It's
That's
fine.
impossible. It's asking a lot.
So go get in your DeLorean, and go back a couple days, and go to the show.
That's right. Or just look in the... Because you guys play the Velvet Lounge, you play Galaxy Hut. Do you play any other places around?
We don't play. I mean, we played Galaxy Hut that one time.
No.
I'd like to go back.
You should go back.
Yeah,
We want to do a different
Maybe.
kind of set.
I think we might have offended the dude, but
Oh, the sound
I
guy?
hope not. Maybe.
said something a little disparaging after the show about the sound when he was outside smoking a cigarette.
You have said nothing that he has not heard a million times.
That's true.
The sound of Galaxy Hut is ass.
Mhm, it's
and
pretty bad.
I would say that to their face. And
Uh-huh.
they know it. I mean, because they don't have any money. I mean,
Yeah.
it's-
I don't even blame the sound for
Sure.
what I felt was a mediocre performance at that show. There was an old lady sitting literally like a foot from me,
Right.
and it's really hard
you
to
off?
rock hard at an old woman, like making eye contact with her and yell in
Was
her
that-
face.
I think you need to trip the light fantastic, my friend. You look right in those beady old eyes and you say, bitch, here it comes,
I guess.
That's exactly what you said. So how long have you been in the game, like technically, like how long do you feel like you've really been in the game? 10 years?
In the game?
Yeah, playing songs,
We've
writing
been in
songs.
Catscan for 15 years.
Yeah,
now.
we've been in the band longer than we haven't been in the band in our lives.
Sure. So writing songs, creating songs for 15 years.
Yeah.
And you have pretty good body of work. Still a lot more work. It seems like you guys are like, you need an assistant.
Yeah.
I
Well,
guess so. We're sort of hard to work with.
We've always been. We're like the real definition of DIY.
Right.
Because I
Yeah.
think it's like, but we're like DIY because no one else wants to help you.
Right.
So like we've always been using like crap like halfway broken stuff and just like things that we find. I mean, people do help us, but
definitely growing up, we had no help. We bought all our instruments. We had a few donated from Mason's dad's friend, John Carroll. But there were a lot of bands back then that were just these rich kids that had like incredible equipment and no talent, or just they weren't interesting at all. So we were basically the opposite of that, and but we just every time we wanted to work with someone else, get a guest artist, we were kids, so we were really professional for our age, like in the recording process. So
we expected them to do things that kids just wouldn't.
yeah, and we've just had like a decade of disappointment in other people, so it's hard to nowadays we're playing with people that are professionals. So, but it's just hard to trust them because we're so used to being let down.
Where do you guys? So who are your favorite DC bandmates? I know, there's Pete and the Electric Grandmother and Mary Alice. Who are the bands you guys play with?
Well, Stereo Riots we played with yesterday, and we're playing with them on Valentine's Day. Those guys are cool.
Play with Tarfu a lot.
Those
They're
guys
great.
are amazing. My friend Ryan is in that band. What's it called?
Technicians.
Yeah,
They're
really
great.
good. Ghost Hotel from Frederick, Maryland. Those guys are sweet.
Frederick looks like it's starting to burgeon.
Yeah.
Into a little bit of an area.
Yeah, we'd like to go
wanna
out
play
there.
some shows up there.
Showing some love for the Frederick, Maryland, home of the Flying Dog Brewery. Maybe they should be a sponsor of the show. But right now, the sponsor of the show is the Indiegogo campaign of heavy breathing. Go to Indiegogo, look up heavy breathing, or type it in, first. Don't just like say, hey, computer, look it up, unless you have one of those really cool speech-to-text translators. Check out their awesome video. Give them some money. Get yourself a perk. You're never going to regret getting a purchase from them musically. And I bet the prints that they do are amazing. And if you really want to hit one out of the park for the Pile of Waves podcast, buy that $1,000 tier and get them to come play in your hometown or venue. As always, we also wanted to thank Misha Communications for their marketing and PR support for us, and as well as our social media. If there's something that you would like us to promote for you, and we don't just promote anything, but if you send us your scheduled dates, we will take a listen to your materials, and we will see if you fall within the the sort of things that the Piloways want to promote. Those go into a nice little hopper, and then they go out and they get blasted to a gajillion people worldwide. Misha Communications, they actually provide PR and marketing support for companies all over the world, and they do a great job. And my buddy Michelle, thank you for everything you've done for this show so far. We wouldn't be at the 3,000 listeners a month that we have right now without you, and that's no bullshit.
We're like the Larry David of rock music.
Oh, sure. I get that. Yeah.
Just because, everyone, like, comedians love Larry David, but he's not that popular with the audience. So.
Right.
So.
That's a good comparison. I like that. That's funny.
Yeah, well, I think... Yeah,
plus, we get into really awkward situations, too.
Like in what kind of awkward situations?
I'm trying to think
Can
of...
you give me one?
Well, I mean, we did a show one time back in high school where... Like right after we got off the stage, I was like, "Okay, you can go home now." And there was the band that like invited us to play with them was up next. Yeah. So yeah, that sucked.
Then you felt bad.
I felt like an asshole. Yeah.
Like later, you realize what he said.
Yeah.
What's your? Because you guys have been friends for a while, like so playing together is probably pretty sweet, right? Like
yeah.
We have a good.
Yeah.
Well,
we've been friends since kindergarten, or we've known each other's. Well, yeah, we were friends.
Mm-hmm.
We went to my Halloween party in kindergarten. There's pictures of that, and then we've been creative together since third grade. We did a school project and wrote a book together.
Right on. What was that book about?
It was called The Book. It was just a bunch of poetry and art and other stuff. Short stories.
Right. Yeah, we had sort of this series called Neat Freaks, which were like these aliens that wanted to clean everything on Earth, and we would be like the heroes in the book that we would throw dirt on them or something, and then it would force them to go home. There was always
some kind of Independence Day ending to it where we would throw something really dirty at them, or someone would we had my dog at the time. His name was Hobbs, and he was really gross and dirty. He would go into the mothership, and it would blow up, and he would survive somehow.
That's good. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for you guys to be playing together for so long, is it intuitive? Like when one of you says, okay, I have this idea, I want to kind of play with it. Is it just you hit the ground running? Is it talk about the benefit of being together for a long time?
Well, I think what you said about it is it intuitive. I'd say it's getting more extreme. The when we agree, it's we're just right there, and we know exactly where we're going.
Yeah.
But then when we disagree now, it's a lot more intense than it used to be.
It's very adult now.
Yeah, now it's but that idea is great. Why do you not like it? I'm really offended that you don't like that idea. So
it's more. It's less that I feel like it's not often that we disagree about things, but when we do, it's not even a big issue. It's a very minor thing, but it'll just become personal.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like any relationship. It's not really about that thing. It's about all the other things.
Right, yeah. It kind of both, yeah. Yeah.
It's the worst, man. It's the worst.
But in general, we have a really good mental connection, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
We're really good at kind of quickly figuring out what the other guy wants and
Right.
making it happen.
Are you allowed to be on the same team for like Pictionary and stuff like that?
Rarely.
We're
Yeah.
not if anyone knows us, then they
Yeah,
know us.
yeah.
But sometimes they don't know us
usually
well.
figure
and
it
then
out pretty quickly.
That's a good litmus test for relationships.
What's that game that we were playing with the
it's that
the
thing
big
where it's
button in the middle?
Taboo?
It's
Yeah,
not. No.
It's not taboo?
It's like a hot potato thing where it
That sounds
tells
like
you a
taboo.
word and you have to.
Balderdash? No, I know what you're
It's
saying.
electronic thing. I don't remember what it's
Yeah.
called.
I know what you're talking about. Well,
Yeah,
there's
Rumbledorf.
Rumbledore.
We kill at that. We kill at that.
Morgenstein.
But yeah, I always like, because it's people you work with or people you have creative, endeavors with, and they're just like, nah, it's not going to happen. You guys can't be on the same team.
Yeah.
So you have that unspoken bond.
Yeah.
It's like you're in mental connection.
We definitely got that.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Are you, it's like, sometimes I remember in my band, you get tired of it a little bit, but not in like a I don't like you way. It's just more like a, yeah, I know you know. I just know. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing, we're both pretty funny guys. So like we're both making jokes all the time. Sometimes it's just a matter of like making sure that I make the joke before you.
Oh,
Yeah.
to say
yeah.
it.
That happens every day, basically.
If there's something we can relate to in this particular episode, it's the idea of when you know someone, when you're best friends, or when you work together, or when you do a creative, when you do a creative project together, you start to sort of get into each other's heads, and it's both reassuring and beautiful, and also terrifying at the same time. Once someone starts to get you to know you, as the sort of cliched phrase goes, better than you know yourself, it's weird, but it's also beautiful. It's all about love, and what I loved. Man, I'm the master of the phrasing. What I love about the Catscan boys is the fact that they love working together, even though they joked about how sometimes it's a little bit obnoxious. But you can feel that through the music. You can feel their absolute love for creativity, their love for music, their love for working with each other. It comes through, and thank you, boys. My hat goes off to you. I also wanted to send a special shout out to my buddy Don over at Inner Ear Studio. Going forward, we're going to be recording a lot of episodes at Inner Ear, and thank you, Don. Thank you for letting us do that. And with that comes a lot of responsibility. That makes us take our work up a notch. And if you have ideas on how we could take our work up another notch or two, you should come to the Pilot Waves Facebook page, and you can like us there, whatever that even means in this universe. I mean, I know what the button means, but I don't know what happens now. But who does know? Misha Communications. But that's enough about what you can do for us. Let's do some more for you, the listener, and we can listen to more of this interview with Catscan.
The immediate next step we're doing is so this Challenger Jeep was kickstarted, and one of the rewards was
Can you talk about that a little bit? The Kickstarter.
Sure. I mean, we did it in last December.
Is it a faux pas to say how much we earned? Or?
I don't think so. It's on the internet. You can
Yeah.
look it up.
It was a little bit more than $2,000 from
Huh.
friends and family.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that went to the mastering in Richmond.
Yeah, I went to the
and
recording.
To the recording of the drummer mostly, and
Oh,
we
tracking
didn't pay
drums
the
and
other
stuff.
guys. So.
I mean,
I love how general that term is when people are like tracking drums. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking
Yeah.
about. Man. Sounds complicated.
well, it was all the recording, really.
Right.
But we had the song was pretty much ready to go,
Right.
and really.
Well, yeah, because do you know about the Songo thing, the Song of the Month? that
Oh
we
yeah,
did?
yeah. I mean, I talked to you guys about it.
Yeah, I guess if we're going to talk about this whole process, we should start there.
Let's do
Because
it.
we did basically a year of Song of the Month, or a little more, and we would write a new song every month. And it was a good way to just, like, kind of solidify the sound of a song and have a recording of it. Not a perfect one, but then we would release that for a month and then take it off for the next month.
And a lot of those went into the live show too,
Yeah.
so we got to refine the songs
So,
further.
yeah, a lot of the songs on the album are kind of the hits from the show, from the shows, or that we just really love from the Songo.
Right.
But those ended up being a really useful tool in recording because we were able to take that to sort of our engineer and be like, here's the sound we achieved, that we want to either get that or better than that.
Yeah.
But it was a really good, helpful starting point. Because the last time we tried to record it, it was
Yeah.
months of just trying to figure out what the hell we were doing.
Yeah, we kind of screwed up there.
You were doing it by yourselves?
We were actually working with the same guy.
With the same guy, but we just didn't have any of the songs finished.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just not the best way to go into a recording session.
Mm-hmm. We thought maybe it'd be cool because we could kind of shape them.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it ended up just being a waste of time. I think
Yeah.
we wasted a lot of time.
Because that's the way we do it normally when we record.
Yeah.
We don't have the songs finished and then we'll work on it.
Right.
But we had to sort of had to figure out the actual recording process with people that aren't us.
Right.
They can't
Right.
just like mentally connect.
Well, I think it's kind of like what you said before. It's something that we try to talk about a little bit on the show sometimes, and that's the familiarity and comfort of playing with multiple people. You know, because as you start to do it with other people more often, it's not even about those people that you play with anymore. It's about knowing how to figure out how to play with other people.
Right.
You know, and that's a key part of growth as a musician, and it's a key part of being in a community in general. You know, even if it's not music. And I think that, you know, more experiences outside of the house are good for everyone. And that's something this year that we're really trying to promote is like, just get the fuck out of your house for fucking an hour, you know, a day. You know, because, you could buy that on the internet, but just go do it in person.
Yeah.
Jesus, man. I'm trying to build a society here. You know?
to keep it together,
We're
right?
living in a society.
But so for you, what was the most difficult part of going into... Because I think what you're talking about doing, what you talk about having that mistake, that happens to a lot of bands. Like,
Yeah.
we have these songs good enough. Let's go into the sesh, see what happens, and
Yeah.
I'm sure something good will come out. Why didn't it work?
Oh, well, I think
It worked eventually. It just doesn't work. It didn't work immediately, and I
Right.
think it's just, well, you know, we didn't have the songs written, and we didn't know exactly how Drew works, and it was a very different way than how we kind of record.
The other big thing is we have a lot of sort of extreme ideas that are not always easy to defend. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
I want that note to be a little bit out of tune. Like, it's really hard to explain that
This should
to a professional.
be grating, or this should make this should upset you, or
Right.
that kind of thing. And Drew's he's an amazing engineer, and he's an incredible guitarist. But he's a metal guy, and he's just, you know, they're very technical, and we're very not.
Right.
We're like, some of our ideas are completely untechnical.
Right.
So to have them fully figured out in a way that you can say, here's the context of that idea. Here's sort of what the way we built it together, and so it's not just like, I want to play a bad note and record it for me. It's like, here's why. It really helped to have that all prepared and all the questions, all the answers figured out to the questions he might ask.
So it was like it's like having a sort of a vision in mind for what it is you're trying to accomplish with the project.
Yeah,
Right.
So give me a little of that. Like, what were you trying to accomplish? And did it come out exactly the way you wanted? And I don't just mean the sound, but
For this album, I think it did. I don't think it turned out exactly how we imagined it, but a lot of aspects were a lot better than we could have expected. The thing about this album, though, is we didn't have a title or an actual concept before the songs were written. But a lot of times we'll just, after putting the songs together or just hearing a bunch of them, we get an idea that like this whole idea of Challenger Deep and the whole nautical aspect just came from like realizing that several of the songs were about the ocean or had kind of the ocean infused in them. So
where do you guys? Because it seems like animals are a recurring theme throughout your music. What is your connection to that?
I don't know. I think we just like animals.
Yeah.
It does. We have to limit ourselves to writing about animals because we have done a ton of songs about critters.
Yeah, we one time we made like a list of song topics that we hit all the time, and then we wrote like the antonym on the other side, and then we were like, we have to write songs about these things.
And that's where Au Naturel came from.
Because
we wrote, for like 10 years, we wrote a lot of songs about robots and technology in the future, and like that kind of stuff.
Right. I like that.
Food and whatnot.
Writing songs about animals, robots, and food and whatnot. That's Catscan. Catscan don't have any upcoming shows that I saw on their website, but you can show them some support and love by going to their website and clicking through to their SoundCloud page, their YouTube page. Check out their music. I know you will enjoy it. This episode is brought to you by the Indiegogo campaign of Heavy Breathing. If you would like to help us show the power of the Pilot Waves podcast, specifically to our friends in Heavy Breathing, you will go to the Indiegogo campaign, you will go to the Indiegogo website, look up Heavy Breathing, check out their campaign, watch their video, pick a perk, get it, give us some cash, and you will eventually get a digital or vinyl copy of Heavy Breathing's newest release, and their old one too, Body Problems. This would be of great use to us in the Pilot Waves podcast. Another thing that would be great for the Pilot Waves podcast is if you were to come to our Facebook page. Tell us what you think of this episode. Tell us what you think of the show in general. Complaints, compliments, questions, concerns, all those things. Ideas for improvement. Maybe you want to do some interviews for us. We would love to hear from you. Speaking of which, we have a new reporter that we are going to be introducing in the coming weeks. Chelsea Short, who was a guest on this show, is going to be doing some interviews for us. And that we are very excited for. That we are honored that she would spend her quality time doing some work on our behalf. If you're interested actually in doing any kind of work for the Pilot Waves podcast, you should reach out because there's a lot of work to do. We need a lot of help, more help than even I can get from our wonderful PR and marketing company, Misha Communications. Do you see how wonderfully clumsily I'm flowing these things together? They're all from the top of the brain, which big shout out to my friend Q, who suggested to me after listening to some episodes, have you ever thought about using scripts? Yes, I have thought about that. Now you think about what Catscan's going to say in this next interview clip.
What's coming next, and the immediate next thing is one of the Kickstarter rewards was a commissioned song by us,
Nice.
and we let them choose the topic.
Who got that?
A bunch of people.
10 different people, yeah.
So you
Mostly
write 10
family members.
songs?
Yeah.
We were writing a whole album, basically.
We
fantastic.
wanted to
Second
do
album.
both at the same time, but we got to the point where we said, let's just finish Challenger Deep and then come back. So we
Because that's what they were really paying for.
Yeah. We probably have about 8 of those songs sort of
Fleshed out.
in varying degrees of doneness, but that'll be our next project is recording those, and we'll do those at home probably, but get them mastered. So that'll be a fun project because it's pushing us to. We're doing a song like a kid's song on it.
Yeah, there's a kid song, there's a country song, there's like an old, like, I guess, sort of swing dancer.
Ah.
What do you call it?
Your musical genres, I mean, they are all over the place. Does that come from knowledge, or does that come from like musical preference? Like, where does your training
Yeah,
come from?
I think to me it comes from sort of like it's just interesting to try and do something that you're not comfortable with.
Yeah. And
You
just,
know-
it's, I think a lot of, like, originally we were basically writing music for ourselves, and we like a lot of types of different music. And when we first started a band, we didn't want to be like every other shitty garage band that had one genre that, if they do get famous, they're going to be around for a year and then they're dead.
Sure.
So, like, we loved They Might Be Giants growing up, and those guys are very eclectic, and they're not super famous, but they've been together forever.
Right.
And I think it's because they, change it up, and they play lots of different types of stuff.
Well, yeah, Ween is another band
Oh, yeah,
we
Ween.
like a lot, and they're like that too. They do all kinds of genres.
Mm-hmm.
So we just I think that's why we do it.
They do just weird albums too, just random weird shit. Have you ever
Yeah.
thought about doing that? Like just an album of outtakes?
Probably the
and
next one is
you're
just
doing Inhalant. And
well,
Maybe we have a bunch of ideas, so it's hard to. We don't always want to. Well, sometimes we get into these projects and they never get finished. So
yeah.
that's sort of where we're at now. Is we're trying to say what are the really good ideas, and let's actually do those and not do
Right.
everything. But we have been collecting like loops, like recording loops on our iPhones, and
Yeah.
just like
A couple of them have gone into songs. One of them is in Portly Chap at the beginning. It's like this homeless guy who just was ranting about God. on the subway. And there's one that was on one of the songos, which I recorded like a shit ton of crows and a train going by.
Oh, weird.
That was cool.
Yeah.
So
A murder of crows.
Uh-huh.
So we're probably gonna have an EP or something using those recordings.
Yeah, where all the songs are based around those loops or
Yeah.
something, like built from and based around those loops.
Right.
So we do want to do, that's going to be sort of a weird experimental thing. But yeah, I mean, that's part of the fun of our band is like, we could do anything. I mean,
Sure.
another thing we're talking about is like, get like a group of, like a small orchestra or like a big band or something and do arrangements for them and then we'll have an album like that. So that's what's cool about our band is we can pretty much, there's no like, Catscan can't do that.
Yeah, we can't do that. That goes against our whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not
Our
some
fans
Catscan
would be so
sound, man.
disappointed. You know?
Right. So let's end this episode with a big thank you to the Catscan Boys. They're not called the Catscan Boys. That's not the name of the band, and actually, if you want to find their website, it's the Catscan website. They're not easily findable on the Google. If you just search Catscan, all sorts of other stuff comes up. Thank you, boys, for being on the show. Thank you for answering my questions. Thank you for telling your personal stories. We ask that bands like Catscan, bands like Spanish Noir, gentlemen like Dave Oberting, people coming up like Kevin Sampson of the Picture Lock TV show. We ask them to come on our show because it further embeds us in the community with their success, and our success is further embedded within them. This we do believe. The Pilotways Podcast, as I've mentioned before, is a podcast about artistry, technology, community, commerce. It's about the intersections of these worlds, specifically how these people who come on the show use their creativity to survive and thrive. They're just like me and you, and that's why we want you to listen, because if you listen to these, I'm not going to say the embedded line again, you're more likely to go and purchase CDs from them, purchase vinyl albums from them, go see them live. This is what we are trying to do, people. We are trying to get you to engage with these artists and musicians and advocacy groups and TV shows. We want you to talk to them. We want you to buy their products. We want you to buy, and I hate to say the word product, but there's a service there, right? You go see a live show. We would like you to give some money. Thank you for even doing this part, though, which is listening to this podcast, because whether you realize it or not, you're part of the family now. And for that, we can't possibly thank you enough. But one thing that you could do for us is to visit any of the people that we listed today as associates of the show. You can engage with Don at Inner Ear Studios. Go buy yourself some studio time. As you heard Catscan mention earlier, make sure you got your shit together before you buy some studio time. I learned that lesson the hard way. Go to Misha Communications and just see what they have to offer. Maybe you should use them for your business. Not maybe, you should use them for your business. Michelle is a dynamite, kick-ass marketer. She is just crushing it for us. That is the reason that we have the success that we even have now. She is the biggest part of that. And we can't thank her enough. And I know that there are times, and just to be quite honest with you, there are times that I lose sight of what it is this show is about. And I get mired up in my own ego bullshit. And Michelle reminds me that what I'm doing is more important than that. Now, she doesn't say, get off your high horse and your BS, Alex. What she says is, Alex, it's important, and we believe in you. And I can't thank her enough for reminding me that there are true believers out there. She is a true believer. Misha Communications is a true believer. Don at Inner Ear Studio is a true believer. And I know you listening right now, I'm speaking directly to you. I know you are a true believer. So come to the Pilotways Facebook, tweet us at Pilotwaves, or just email me, culture@pilotwaves.com, and tell me who you want to hear more from. Tell me any ideas that you have for the Pilotwaves podcast. Maybe you want to help us with a project. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I want to hear from you. Thanks for listening.